Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast right now. Wherever you see a subscribe button somewhere in front of you, hit that and get notified new content comes up throughout the rest of the season and a little off season. Again, Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. So the Yankees dust themselves off a little bit, had that little one game, kind of felt like an exhibition game in Houston against part of a, incomplete or disjointed makeup series from April, dropping the game 2-1 to the Houston Astros against Severino. Pitched well, gave the Yankees 6 quality innings, but again, the Yankee offense was only able to muster up the one run. So dust themselves off, go to Cleveland. But, I guess the rain gods had better ideas. So the original Friday night game was supposed to be open. That got rained out, which then made the Saturday game a part of a doubleheader. So Yankees would have to play to that game. Again, this was all part of a 11-game road trip for the New York Yankees. Now, interestingly enough, from the new rules from a couple of seasons ago, the Yankees were able to call up a 27th player. And, of course, that was Mr. Miguel Andujar, who the Yankees sent down a couple of weeks ago. He was a little miffed about that, requested a trade. Still in the Yankee organization, but now you're hearing grumblings just the way, Gallo just keeps, being terrible at the plate that, hey, you know what, even though Gallo's getting like $10 million, but maybe you should play Miggy because he's actually hits better and just like that. So it's kind of bringing that whole argument. But for the game itself, the Yankees had Cole on the mound. And most importantly, going into the series, you kind of felt good about it. Again, the Yankees swept Cleveland last time they came to the stadium, had that little ugly incident with the beer throwing, the bleacher creatures throwing some beers at some of the Cleveland outfielders for being a little antagonistic. But nevertheless, the most important thing that the Yankees did, sweep that series. And again, you kind of felt good going to this. Cleveland only like 5 games above 500 going into this. So you figure the Yankees would have the clear advantage, especially with Cole on the mound. But he did get dinged up a little bit, put the Yankees in an early 2-0 hole, giving up back-to-back home runs to Josh Naylor and Franmil Reyes. And we see this like a lot from Cole this season, kind of weird, like just giving up a couple of number of dingers in the same inning. So in Minnesota, we had that one inning, he gave like 3 home runs in one inning. We've seen this where he just has this breakdown for a sequence, a couple of batters in a row, where again he'll give up multiple home runs in a row. Then from there he'll settle in. So this has kind of been a bit of a weird season for Cole. Overall, I say a good season, but didn't give up the long ball, quite often. And again, it seems like it comes in bunches. But the Yankees got him right back in the third inning starting. The party started with DJ LeMahieu, getting the Yankees on the board with a home run. And then thanks to, as mentioned before, Miguel Andujar getting now in the Yankee lineup for the doubleheader as well as Hicks. A couple of hits was from men on. Gave the Yankees a 4-2 lead. And then from there, you pretty much could turn it off. But the Yankee bats just kept heated up, including a pair of home runs from Matt Carpenter. And he's the same one. He seems to do things in bunches. And he does home runs in bunches as well. Hitting 2 home runs in this game, one in the 6th, put the Yankees ahead 6-2. Hit another one in the 9th. Trevino even got in the home run action, but really a good game for Matt Carpenter overall, going for 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs. And of course, Cole, not his best start, but okay. 6 innings, just the 2 earned runs, those 2 back-to-back home runs in the second. 6 strikeouts, but like I said, probably other than the Yankee win was important. But of course, another headline for this game was going to be the return of Aroldis Chapman, which would have been Friday night. But of course, the rain delay, they moved it back. Now at the time, the Yankees were leading this game in the 7th inning, 10-2. So you figure, all right, you got a big lead. This would be a good time to bring in Chapman. Now this is where I would question Boone a little bit. I think the consensus is that yes, Clay Holmes is still going to be the closer for now, but you aren't going to use Clay Holmes in this game, just with the big lead. So I would have waited for Chapman to come in the 9th. Again, these pitchers are all creatures of habit, especially Chapman. He's been a closer for a long time. And I don't want to make excuses for him, but I just didn't like the idea of bringing him in the 7th. But I'd rather him just come out for the 9th because he's just used to that. He's used to finishing the game. It's just a different beast. Again, baseball play is very routine-like and very superstitious. I didn't think that was a big move, and Chapman was terrible. He ended up walking all 3 batters he faced. He had to get yanked for Rob Marinaccio. Now he got out of the jam, but we got a couple of ground outs, caused some runners that scored. So brought the game to 10-4 at that point. But again, as mentioned before, that the Yankees kept tacking on runs, especially with the Trevino homer later on. Made the final score 13-4. So game 1 early on goes to the Yankees. So again, solid game. Especially for Matt Carpenter. But again, Chapman come back, and I guess his debut there so far was his return from that Achilles injury was flat. But again, first game back on the mound a little wild there at the walks. I wouldn't panic at this point, but again, if I was Boone, I would have rather see Chapman in the 9th, not to the 7th. But later that night, the Yankees took a couple hours off, hung out in the clubhouse a little bit, took a nap, and then he had game 2 with Nestor Cortez, who lately hasn't been as effective. Again, maybe he's hearing some whispers that things like limiting his innings. Maybe it's catching up to him. Maybe he's fatiguing a little bit. Again, not going long as games. He seemed a little, getting smacked around a little bit. So it was good to see Cortez on the mound with a good game. Now he did fall behind early on, thanks to a solo home run in the bottom of the first by Ahmad Rosario, the former Met. Put the Yankees in a 1-0 hole, but the Yankees eventually would wake up in the fourth inning thanks to back-to-back home runs by Anthony Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton, turned the score to 2-1, and then from there the Yankees wouldn't look back, tacked on some more runs in the seventh inning thanks to RBI by Josh Donaldson, as well as Ikaev really put it away at 5-1 at that point, and even Higgy got into the action with a sacrifice fly, pushing the score to 6-1. But overall, I guess, the really important part of the game was Nestor Cortez having a good quality bounce-back start, same as Cole, going 6 innings with 6 strikeouts, only the one earned one on the home run by Rosario in the first, and had 3 strikeouts of Jose Ramirez in this game. The third one actually, Cortez pumping his fist as he's going off the mound. And for the Yankees, it got a little dicey there in the ninth inning. They tried to get Peralta to close it out. A little wild, had a walk, gave up a hit, was able to get a couple of outs, but ended up hitting a batter to load the bases there. Now, again, at this point, the score is 6-1. You don't really feel it's in danger there, but I guess Boone didn't want to mess around. Goes to Clay Holmes to get the final out. Again, I'm pretty sure you prefer not have to use Clay Holmes, but nevertheless, Holmes didn't pitch game 1. That you had the rain out on Friday night, so again, Holmes more than fresh and was able to finish it out, get a ground out to end the game. The Yankees take the second game of the doubleheader. So the 6-1 was the final score of game 2. And overall, if you want to add up the offense of both games, the Yankees outscored the Cleveland Guardians to a tune of 19-5. And at that point, take the series. And of course, at that point now, game 3, just looking for the cherry on top. Can you get another sweep of this team? Again, the Yankees swept them last time at Yankee Stadium, and it'd be good to sweep them in their own progressive field. But that wouldn't be the case. Cleveland answering back thanks to the pitching of Tristan McKenzie. Giving the Guardians 7 innings of just one hit ball, was basically a Josh Donaldson broken bat hit in the 4th inning. But this is another weird game for the Yankees. If you remember, Houston combined no-hit them last weekend, and this was a similar situation where the Yankee offense pretty much was shut down completely. So you just have this offense that 1 second is able to put up 13 runs, but then on the other side, we've seen situations where this team is totally shut down. So definitely a yin and yang of it, but fortunately, more often than not, they're scoring more than not getting shut down. But now, I guess perhaps Boone winning the first 2 games and the fact that Monday was off before the start of the Pittsburgh series, decided to give Judge the game off, which makes sense. Judge been playing center a lot, and Joe Girardi used to do this a lot with having an off day the next day. You figure, if you give Judge the Sunday off, with Monday is already a planned off day, now you give him Judge essentially 2 games off in a row just to get him off his feet a little bit. So it made sense there. But Judge would get into some of the action. So on the mound for the Yankees was Jordan Montgomery. He wasn't terrible, only giving up 2 runs, one of them a home run by Framil Reyes in the 4th, and then Reyes again adding on an RBI single in the 8th to push the score 2-0. But again, the story was really Tristan McKenzie with his 7-inning pitch of brilliant baseball. Now the Yankees did have an opportunity. Again, they rarely go quietly in the 9th inning with Emmanuel Clase on the mound. Now, last time at Yankee Stadium, they got to Class A. That was the game where Ikaev and Gleyber Torres were able to get some big hits off him in the 9th inning. Now, the Yankees threatened a little bit. Rizzo was able to walk to get on. Stanton hit a slow ground ball, but the first baseman dropped the relay throw to first base, so the Yankees had 2 runners on. Now, Class A got the next 2 runners out. So with an opportunity to maybe put a big crooked number on the board, maybe turn the game around, actually Boone summoned Judge off the bench to pinch hit. Judge would end up walking the bases loaded, and that brought up Aaron Hicks. And lately, even though Hicks maybe overall not having a great season, but we've seen him a couple, great moments in the 9th inning. Of course, you're thinking about that Houston game where he hits a 3-1 home run to tie it. And of course, the big hit he had in the 8th inning down in Tampa. So, maybe a little more 9th inning for the Magic for Aaron Hicks, but unfortunately not be the case. Ended up grounding out to second base. And where, if he could just hit a single there, maybe they could tie the game, maybe go ahead. But of course, he grounds out, and the Yankees have left scoreless, losing the game 2-0. Now, according to Hicks, he wasn't expecting to get, because Class A could throw 100 miles per hour, sometimes even 101. So he was kind of gearing up for the fastball. Did not expect getting 3 sliders in a row. So ended up rolling over one of the sliders there, and again, weakly grounding out to second base. And the Yankees had a go away with the series win, but not get the sweep. But again, it's just good to see, even if they lose, let's get a little fight there in the ninth inning. So the Yankees, at this point now, 58-22. Through 80 games, this is their third best start through the 80 games since 1930. So again, Yankees having this historic season record-wise. And now we'll continue on to this road trip and getting the Monday off. And then the 2 games at Pittsburgh, a little interleague action for the Yankees. And speaking of Pittsburgh, that's interesting enough, Manny Banuelos, unfortunately, who the Yankees had to put on a wire just to make room on the roster. Now, it was last week when they had to bring up J.P. Sears, needed a roster spot, so ended up putting Banuelos on the waiver wire. And Banuelos, of course, the feel-good story for the Yankees, again, was with the Yankee system many years ago, was hurt a lot, couldn't make it, so ended up bouncing around baseball a little bit. Got the offseason invite for the Yankees, the spring training, finally made the team a couple of weeks ago, and overall, in certain scenarios, not really high-pressure situations, but giving the Yankees some quality innings. So I guess Pittsburgh took notice of that, and they decided to claim him off the waivers. So the Yankees trading him to Pittsburgh for cash considerations. And again, maybe the Yankees will end up facing Banuelos in a big spot, whether it's the Tuesday or Wednesday game against only a 2-gamer in Pittsburgh. And also the Yankee news, Marinaccio, who again had to rescue Chapman in the first game. He needed to be placed on the 15-day IL with some shoulder inflammation. So to take his spot, recalling J.P. Sears again. So maybe we'll see Sears maybe make a spot start somewhere along the way here. Just to, again, give some other players such as Nestor, or give Taillon, or give Luis Severino a little extra day here and there, which they're going to need, again, because they just don't have the endurance yet for a full season. So someone like Sears will be valuable. Also, you'll see a little Clark Schmidt there once in a while. So that's the series. So the Yankees move on. I guess probably the big stories is going to be probably dealing with Gallo, who just continues to be struggling at the plate, hitting under 170, and again with Miguel Andujar up here and contributing a little bit, especially in that first game with the bat. People are going to start chirping a little bit and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should sit Gallo or send him down because he's just continuing to struggle. Now, one thing I would say about that, I follow Ron Bloomberg on Facebook, and again, I had him, I guess, on the show a couple of seasons ago. And he kind of made an interesting point that, you want every play to be perfect, but you also got to think of team chemistry, and this may be something, again, went outside the clubhouse we don't realize. But look, Gallo and this the team, the way the cohesion is that, all right, maybe he's not contributing, he's not doing well. I'm sure it's frustrating him. But as a team, maybe just chemistry-wise, you don't want to mess with that. And maybe by trading him or getting rid of him, something like that, maybe affects the team chemistry. And, hey, look, this Yankees, like I said, they're 58-22. Why want to mess with something like that? So it's something to be interesting. I'm sure Cashman and Boone have their finger on the pulse a little bit more of that than the average fan. But again, you might just think, get rid of a player. But again, you don't know the relationships in the clubhouse. You don't know how they like Gallo, or they don't like Gallo, or how that may affect Judge some way. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We don't know. So it's something to consider. But just getting rid of a player, it might have bigger ramifications than you might realize. But nevertheless, the Yankees will continue on this road trip. So Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Thanks for catching the episode. And make sure you subscribe and get notified when new content comes up throughout the rest of the season. Section 420, Talkin Yankees, over and out.